And today we're talking day 5 SEO in 2020. Now, do you actually really need to know? This is something that still, I guess, perplexes a lot of people because they think that with a new year, there's new stuff that you really should know about. And it is every year that we ask, what should we know this year when it comes to SEO? If you Google, what should we know in 2020, 2019, like put the date, put the year in, and you're going to see when it comes to SEO, there's a ton of articles, and these will largely start being written like towards the end of the year for the next year. And here's what basically I say every single year. And that is just get the basics right. This is stuff that people always overlook. You just focus on the basic SEO elements that are always overlooked and avoid the shiny object new SEO stuff. It's just stuff that doesn't necessarily matter as much. Of course, SEO is never one thing, it's always a bunch of things that add up to a properly optimized program, of course, but just make sure you get the basics right. Now, a lot of times people ask, so what are the basics? Okay, now if we talk about SEO basic, let's think very basic and start with keyword research. So when you're doing your keyword research, you're not thinking about the entire website. You've got to really prioritize when you look at this website. And if you take, let's say, an e-commerce program, and so you look at this e-commerce website and you determine from that e-commerce website, of all the products that they are selling, which are the most important. They might have 6 or 7 different categories, and you would have the conversation if you're in-house with your boss or with the CMO. What are the most important products? And you should be in on those conversations to really understand where their focus is for the year or for the quarter. And that's where your work should be focused. If you're working as a consultant or in an agency, you want to talk with the client and understand, okay, if you sell, let's say they are a watch manufacturer and they have men's and women's, and then in the men's and women's categories, they have sport and they may have sort of street style, and they've got casual, and they have all these different styles. So you would ask them, in which category should we be focused? Then you take those 1 or 2 categories, and then you're doing your keyword research based on those pages. So you're page mapping, looking at each of the pages and mapping which keywords should be grouped in which of those different categories. So your basic keyword research. Next, you want to establish clear, relevant, unique title tags. Every single page should have its own unique title tag. Think about the call to action, how you're constructing those title tags, and how you're integrating a keyword within that title tag. Making sure it's not repetitious. Make sure that you're leveraging the entire pixel width of the actual title tag, so that you're not missing anything that you could be including. At the same time, don't make it repetitive, and don't use free or anything that might look spammy in your title tags. Then look at how your pages are internally linked. Internal links are really important to get better exposure into those other deeper pages that may have been missing in action when it comes to maybe they weren't part of your XML sitemap. Maybe there aren't a lot of references internally to those pages, so there could be some also lower traffic to some of those pages. So you want to really take a real good inventory of which pages am I not linking to that I probably should be. And again, if you go back to looking at the prioritized categories, you need to think about any other blog posts, new blog posts that may be coming up. How can I reference those products, those specific categories or product pages? Is there a way I can naturally link into some of those pages? In a way, again, always thinking about your visitor first and the search engine second. Make sure that it's benefiting the visitor first. Next, you want to make sure that your site architecture is is all well formed. The URL structure is well formed. It's easy to navigate from one section to the next. Check to see if you have any duplicate URLs. Of course, you should be looking at Google Search Console and doing your quarterly technical site audit to really kind of understand what might be happening there. But just having a good, clean overall site architecture is always part of the basics and part of something you should consider as well. Next, look at your content strategy, and hopefully by now you do have one. A content strategy is something most businesses overlook. They may create content in a very haphazard or unfocused kind of a way, and you really, as an SEO, it's your job to really help optimize and organize the thinking around what content should be produced. Is it top of the funnel? Is it mid funnel? Is it maybe where you're trying to build awareness and consideration, which are top and mid funnel? Is it kind of content that is how-to content? Do you have content that would work well based on what videos in the YouTube channel were doing really well? Maybe you want to leverage some blog content based on what your video content strategy looks like, and make sure those are aligned. But there should be a good content strategy. And part of the other basics is understanding what the quick wins are. And whether you're just starting a new SEO program or you've been in a program for a couple of years, it's always good to reset and understand what are the quick wins. And I like to do this every quarter. So once you start the next quarter, which we are now into the second month of this current quarter, and so I would look at each beginning quarter with are there quick wins? Are there things that we should be doing and optimizing immediately to see immediate performance results? Make sure that you prioritize those and map them out. Focus on consumer intent and answers. And when you do this, you have to think like the consumer. That consumer is looking to feel a certain way about the brand, and you've really got to make it worth their while to read through the content and find the need to reach out to through a contact form or add something to a cart or continue and move through the process. So you don't want to ever forget what your consumer intent is and why they would really want to do something. You want them to do something valuable and not just sell stuff. I mean, I'm talking like get them to start feeling that they are in the process of making a commitment in some way, whether it's contacting a sales rep or whether it's requesting some other information or whether it is, just again, engaging with other additional content within the site. You want them to really be engaged, and you want them to feel that the kind of content that you're producing that is answering the questions that they're looking for is actually doing that. So think about your consumer intent. Think about the answers that you can provide for them. And when you do that and you nail that, you're going to have a number of pages that are just going to really do well. Schema is an absolute must. And so why your schema needs to be done, what has prepared you for voice? Think about that. There's voice schema, structured data, answers again. If not, you got to go there first. Then you're going to be ready when voice actually becomes a more important thing from an SEO algorithmic perspective. That's when you're going to be ready because your schema has already been in place. So when you do these fundamentals that move the needle the fastest, making sure that all your structured data you can have goes everywhere, it's, really this is one of the foundations that you absolutely need to have in place. Fix the stuff that's been on your long ass to-do list, please. So what I'm talking about here is, and especially if you're in a bigger organization, but really any size, your SEO to-do list is a mile long. And the best thing to do, whether it's this year or next year, the best thing you can possibly do is to get your SEO stuff done. And just make a commitment to prioritizing all of your stuff. And if you're in the mid-year and you're looking at everything that you got between now and the end of the year, look at what you can absolutely get done between now and the end of the year, and what maybe could wait till next year, or what could just go on the backlog because it's maybe not necessary. Or there might be things that you meant to do last year that are completely irrelevant. Just clean that list up, prioritize it, and make sure you get all that really important stuff that you've been meaning to get done. Just get it on the list and just get it done. Now, if you want anything more to learn more about how you can better optimize your SEO campaigns, how you can become more expert, and how you can really start thinking like an expert SEO, I would really encourage you to go to expertseomasterclass.com and get on the wait list. We're going to be launching a brand new expert SEO masterclass that's going to be taking place very, very soon. I'm going to make the announcement, and you're going to be able to join me live for a free training that I'm going to be doing. And we're going to be talking about the 3-tier principles that go into every SEO framework for any size SEO program, whether it's large or small. But if you get on that Expert SEO Masterclass list, get on that list now. You're going to be notified as soon as possible. If you have any questions or comments, or you need to learn a little bit more about the basics of SEO, feel free to comment below and reach directly out to me. Otherwise, I'll see you in the Expert SEO Masterclass.